Hello, dear members. Good morning, afternoon, or evening, depending on where you are currently located. Welcome to Unify, United International Federation of Youth, where we let our actions flow for tomorrow. We are so excited to finally have you all on board and meet you virtually. This session is live streamed in our Facebook and YouTube channels. Today, I will be your moderator. My name is Melek and I'm from Tunisia. Kindly put in the chat below your name and country so we can get to know each others. In today's session, we have our colleague Anjanet as our presenter. She will introduce you to what Unify is all about. She will also shed more light on where and how we can play our part in this impactful journey. First now, let's go to our first slide and start by telling us how you feel today. First slide. Next. So, from the pictures below, the photos, which expression match you right now at the moment? So how you feel today? So choose a number from the pictures below. And put it in the chat. Do we have some tired people? Some excited ones? Well, everyone seems excited today. So that's amazing. Next. Okay, so go to our Mentimeter and express what do you go to the Mentimeter. One of our members will be putting the link in the chat and tell us what's the first word that comes to your mind when you hear the word youth. Can you put the Mentimeter link in the chat? Power. Nice. Action. Leadership. Impact. So we are having some strong words. Amazing. Future. Change. So power to the youth. While this session is going on, please feel free to put your question in the chat. Once we are done with the session, we'll be answering most of your questions. Now over to you, Anjanet. And thank you everyone for being active in the chat.
Thank you very much, Malek. Thank you everyone for joining us today, this morning, this afternoon. We can really feel your excitement. Thank you for sharing your energy with us today. So before we begin, I think it's best that we start with a little bit of housekeeping. So let me take you through the agenda for today. All right. Oops. All right. So for our agenda, we will be talking about a lot about Unify. First of all, let me introduce the team, what we have been doing, what is Unify, and how we were formed. We will also talk about our core objectives in Unify, what we want to accomplish as a platform, as a movement, and as a festival, what the YDPA is all about, some core outcomes, your roles and responsibility as a member, our communication channels, what's next for our members, and of course, some Q&A afterwards. So, to officially begin and to officially start introducing Unify, let me begin by introducing our members. So, let's begin with John Cairel Guillermo, who is our Youth Engagement Officer. He is with the WMO, or the World Meteorological Organization, and he is supporting us from the institution to Unify. So, he is our youth liaison. After Jan, we have Susmita and myself, who are currently serving as your interim global focal points for Unify for 2022 to 2023. So Susmita is also the regional youth focal point for Central and South Asia, and I'm also the regional youth focal point for East and Southeast Asia. So for our next set, we have Pishang Hamakarim from Iraq, who is a regional youth focal point for North Africa and Western Asia. And of course, we've met Malek, who is Pishang's co-focal point for North Africa and Western Asia. We also have Zainab Zahid, who is Susmita's co-youth focal point for Central and South Asia. We have Brian Kakembo from Uganda and Titilayo Adebayo from Nigeria, our youth focal points for Sub-Saharan Africa. And then we have Zihan Zhuan from China, who is also a regional youth focal point for East and Southeast Asia. Moving on to our next batch, we have Maria Mercedes Curi from Argentina and Ernesto Ojeda Canto from Mexico, our youth focal points for Latin America and the Caribbean. We also have Kizaya Herizano from the US, youth focal point for the US, and also our partnerships and finance lead. We also have Davila Talimay Malaya from Fiji, who is a regional youth focal point for Oceania. We have Jay, who is helping us with communications, and we have Prakash and Paulo De La Torre, who is helping us with our graphics and layout. So if you have seen any of our posts on social media, so you know who these people are who are responsible for giving us all this amazing work with the design and with content. So there you have it. You have met our team so far. So now let's go on and introduce Unify officially. So how did Unify begin? And how was Unify conceptualized? So from the WMO, they have the Water and Climate Coalition, which is a coalition that's working towards the advancement of SDG 6, clean water and sanitation, and SDG 13, which is climate action. So within the coalition, we have governments, we have UN agencies, we have institutions, and other stakeholders who are members and who are forwarding the cause of the WCC as they are hosted by the World Meteorological Organization. So Unify is the platform that the WCC uses to engage with the youth. So in essence, Unify is the youth engagement strategy of the Water and Climate Coalition. So through Unify, we want to involve all of the youth and all of the youth organizations who are working towards SDG 6 and 13. So we don't limit our membership for individuals or organizations who are in the water and climate sphere. We do believe that everybody has a role to play, and your skills and talents can be put to good use somewhere in Unify and somewhere in the climate space. So hence, we have formed Unify as two different concepts. So we have Unify the movement, which is what you are a member of. So what we want you guys to know and what we want you guys to remember is that Unify is not an organization. So we're not trying to form a new organization in water and climate. We're not trying to reinvent the wheel. Unify is a platform, so we just want to get everybody on board and streamline our work so we can be more efficient and so we can focus our energy on one goal and one direction. So to do that, we have also conceptualized Unify the Festival. So the festival will be our annual or biennial congregation of youth, where we will do capacity building trainings. We will evaluate where Unify is, where our goals and our strategies are for the year. And we will also be um, doing a lot of stuff, a lot of other activities that will encourage more youth to participate in the water and climate space. So hopefully we will have the first Unify Festival next year. So let's see, we're counting on you guys to help us out and make all of this into reality. So hopefully next year we will see you at the first Unify Festival. That'd be great. Okay, so that's it for the basics of Unify. Now I just want to share some of our partners, some of our stakeholders, and what Unify has accomplished so far. So if you guys don't know, Unify is quite new. We officially started or launched this year, I think sometime in February. But in that short span of time, Unify has already been jointly recognized by the World Meteorological Organization and the Office of the Secretary General's Envoy in Youth as a youth constituency. So we have the support of the WMO and OSG in terms of our youth initiatives. Aside from that, Unify is also recognized and a member of the UNMGCY, or Major Group for Children and Youth, as an official youth constituency. We are officially part of UN processes and its activities. Aside from that, earlier this year, Unify was presented at the briefing on the UN 2023 Water Conference preparations as the official youth consolidating platform for all youth inputs for the UN 2023 Water Conference. So if you guys are not familiar with what the UN 2023 Water Conference is, I think you will be experts about it later on. So Unify is really invested in preparing not just for COP, but also for the water conference. So we will talk about it more a little bit later. So to continue, Unify was also recognized during the Dushanbe water process in Tajikistan earlier in June this year. So we were included in the final declaration from the water process that states that they support and encourage the participation of young people to play an important role in the UN 2023 Water Conference. So this further solidifies our recognition as a platform and as an important actor for the UN 2023 Water Conference. And by the way, the conference will be hosted by the Kingdom of the Netherlands and the Republic of Tajikistan, which is why the Dushanbe water process was in Tajikistan. So I'm not sure if some of you guys were there this year, but yeah, hopefully you remembered us and we've met before in person. But yeah. Okay, so for these core objectives, I want to talk about what Unify is trying to achieve. So of course, as I mentioned earlier, Unify is not an organization, it's a platform. So first of all, we want to build an inclusive networking platform for SDG 6 and SDG 13 advocates. I think if you have been in the climate space for a while now, you know that there's a tendency for organizations and for certain niche to silo. So we have a lot of different channels for information, for knowledge, for opportunities. So what we want to do is to bring them all together into sort of like a one-stop shop, which is the Unify platform. So first objective. Second objective is to build a global impact monitoring system. We'll talk about that more later with reference to the YDPA. Third one is the proper representation of the youth sector, not just in local levels, but in global levels as well. Fourth one is youth participation and involvement in the coalition's processes. And of course, to become a youth constituency that forges partnerships with UN agencies, governments, and private stakeholders. So, are you guys still good? I know it has been a lot of information. So I think it would be best if we take a short break. So I'm going to give the floor back to Malik.
Thank you, Anjanette. So we want to check if you were concentrated or not, and we prepared an easy question for all of you. So what does Unify stand for? Go to the Mentimeter again and answer this question. Davila will be sharing the link in the chat. What does Unify stands for? So did you capture what Unify stands for throughout the presentation? We have youth. So basically is that Unify stands for United International Federation of Youth. Thank you all for your responses. Now over to you again, Ange.
In our short break. So yes, Unify, it stands for the United International Federation of Youth for Water and Climate. So don't forget the water and climate. All right. So after our short break, now let's talk a little bit more about serious stuff. So I have a lot of information coming your way, but please don't be overwhelmed. We will share all of this information with you as well. So for now, all you have to do is listen. So in Unify, we streamline our work into different, what we call pillars of engagement. So for us to be able to maximize our workforce, our volunteers, our members, and what skills and resources that we have, we develop this pillars of engagement within Unify. So we have water and climate education, we have global mobility, capacity development, governance, active engagement, and resource mobilization. So I think these pillars are sort of self-explanatory just from the names, and you will get an idea of what the specific pillars intend to do. So for example, with water and climate education, we will do capacity development sessions, they will do research and compile a lot of resources that we have from our partners, from our members, and from the WMO as well. In terms of active engagement, this is the pillar that handles memberships, activities, partners. So all of these pillars have specific tasks and specific mandates that they have to do. So later on, after this call, you will be sorted into the different pillars based on your interest, based on your skills, and based on what you want to learn as well, and what you want to contribute to Unify in general. So after the pillars of engagement, I would also like to let you guys know that within Unify, we of course have an organizational bubble. So in terms of operating, this is how the protocol works. So of course, Unify is part of the global movement of institutions, organizations, individuals, and within the UN system. After the global movement, we have the Unify national focal points. And I have received a lot of inquiries from you guys already about becoming national focal points, but please hold on to your seats. We will announce the opening for applications for national focal points a little bit later. So national focal points. For now, we will begin with national focal points, and eventually we will also elect global focal points, which for now, it's me and Susmita, your interim global focal points. But after we have gone through the national focal points election, we will have a better idea of how many members we have, what our structure can be, and when would be the best time to start electing for the other positions. So after the national focal points, you also have regional focal points, global focal points. You have the global operations team and the WCC secretariat, of course. So to give you a little bit more of an idea on what the specific roles or positions entail. So of course you have your global youth focal points who are your global representatives, and we operate with two focal points. So ideally, it would be one from Global North, one from Global South, but we'll see. But that's the target. And we have regional focal points who are elected from the national focal points. So we will also have two for each region. And then we have national focal points. We want to have at least, we want to have two focal points for each country. And then after the national focal points, we also have the convention. We call it the Unify Convention. So the Unify Convention is the body that elects the two global focal points. So I think that if you can see here, the idea is to just have the national focal points, regional focal points. You have your convention that will elect the global focal points. So within all of this, or within this hierarchy, within this model, we have the global operations team, which are the pillars. So you guys, all of you, all of us, will be part of the global operations team. It's just a question of where or which pillar we will be a part of. And we also have the Unify Secretariat. For now, the Unify Secretariat is composed of the people that I introduced earlier on from this presentation, but hopefully we can find, if we find more funding, we can of course get more people on board, and hopefully we can get this going, because we do need people to handle all of the administration stuff and the back end of things. Okay, next. So I know the previous organizational bubble, there was a lot of text, a lot of information, but let me give you more information. Now I want to talk about and introduce the YDPA, or the Water and Climate Youth Development Plan and Agenda. I'm sure this is not unfamiliar to you guys. A lot of you have signed up for membership when we were running the free trip to Egypt. So one of the requirements there is to fill out the YDPA and share it with other youth. So essentially, the YDPA is going to be a blueprint of policies, projects, programs, and activities that will address water and climate challenges in the different localities, in the different countries. So this document is what we have been drafting and creating since the beginning of the year. And all of your inputs have been synthesized. And then we also conducted validation sessions to sort of give back this inputs from you guys and to check if this really applies to the youth. And so far, we have had a good reception from youth from different parts of the world. We have conducted validation sessions in Tajikistan. We also did it in the Philippines during our KOI, and at One Young World as well in the UK. And hopefully we can do some more in Egypt for COP and KOI. But right now, what you can see here on the screen is sort of what is included or what is inside the YDPA. So if you imagine the YDPA as a book, so it will have different chapters. And for the very first chapter, of course, we did some research and some literature review. Sorry, talking is hard today. um, so you will see some demographics of the different youth, some perceptions from the different global youth that responded to the survey. We have also identified gaps and challenges that were validated by the youth, and we have identified these into 5 dimensions, or what we call problem dimensions. What are the 5 overarching problems that all of these youth all over the world have identified that they have in common? So after the problem dimensions have been identified, we also identified some projects, programs, and activities that can address these challenges. So not only did we try to document how youth perceive all of these water and climate challenges, but also how they think, or how they think they can solve, or what projects, programs, and activities can help address these challenges. And after that, of course, um, we are currently drafting the YDPA in the text, and we will proceed to the lobbying part, which is, I think, one of the most important aspects of developing this document. So hopefully, we can have your support at COP and at COI to lobby the YDPA to gain support and to gain commitments from our stakeholders, which are governments, private stakeholders, and of course, you guys, the youth and youth organizations. Okay, so I think I will stop there for the YDPA. If you have any questions about it, please feel free to write it down in the comment or in the chat box, or send us an email if you want, to discuss it a bit more in depth. But for now, let's leave it there. And now I want to talk about Unify in numbers. So it says your achievements, but really it sort of happens organically, and this is all thanks to you guys. So as of today, we have over 3,000 individual members who registered. And I know a lot of you registered because you wanted a free trip to Egypt, but nevertheless, we are very thankful that you're here with us. So over 3,000 plus members registered. We have over 4,500 respondents for the YDPA from 169 countries. We also have over 50 youth organizations who applied for accreditation, and we are slowly working through all of those applications to get your response. All right, so that's Unify in numbers so far. Now let's talk about Unify's timeline. What have we been doing since the beginning of the year? So since February this year, we have started contact mapping and data gathering for the YDPA and for our membership as well. And in April, we started the synthesis and the validation for the YDPA. And in June, we started lobbying the YDPA, even if we didn't have a first draft or any draft, but we started lobbying because this, I think, is crucial to the success of this initiative. So we started lobbying in June at the Dushan by Water process, and then this November, we are really working hard and gearing up for COP because it's a really good avenue and opportunity for us to meet with our stakeholders in person to be able to pitch the YDPA and to pitch Unify with stakeholders that will be present at COI and COP. And after November, we have March 2023, which is also an important year for Unify, for the Water and Climate Coalition, and for the WMO, because in March, it will be the UN 2023 Water Conference. And that is where we will be presenting officially the YDPA. Okay, so in terms of timeline, that's from this year until March. So now I really want to just emphasize the salient features of your membership. So when you guys registered for your membership, you signed an agreement that you agree to the terms and conditions of our membership. Of course, we follow a code of conduct as a Unify member. And If you have not received a copy of this document, if you did not save it, then please go ahead and ask from the Secretariat. You have our email address, and we will be more than happy to share it with you again. But the 5 salient features that we want to emphasize is, of course, the safety of everyone. In Unify, we cater to not just youth, but also minors. So it is very important that we keep the space safe and secure for everyone, um, not just for children, but for women, for men, for everyone. So we want to impose safeguarding policy so that everybody feels safe, and we can do our work in peace and more productively. We also have clauses for termination. I don't want to go through the specific criteria for termination. It's a lot, but please go over the document and see the fine print. So for termination, for harassment, okay, let's just say harassment is a big no-no. That's all you have to know. Harassment, no, no, not in Unify, not anywhere. Intellectual property, of course, everything that you do in Unify as a member, and or as an organization, we do not want to take credit for your work. Let's just put it out there. As a member of Unify, we do not want to take away from your identity, from your right to self-determination. We just want to help you. We just want to amplify your voice into the world. But yeah, everything that you do in Unify is yours. Perhaps except when we have certain contracts that you sign with Unify, or if it's a service that you're being paid for, then of course the intellectual property will be owned by Unify. But everything else, you're free to do what you want. Please don't be afraid that we will take credit for your work, for your policies, for your initiatives. We are just here to support you and give you some guidance. And of course, attendance. Attendance, we don't really want to impose members to attend every week or to have mandatory meetings for everyone on a regular basis. We know that people are busy, some of you are working, some of your students, but we do encourage you to attend a regular meeting, which will be perhaps monthly. So even once a month, give us some time to just catch up and be in the loop for all of the opportunities that we are preparing for you. So those are the 5 most important points. So please, if you have not read this thoroughly, please go back to the text. It's available on the website. We have the terms and conditions of membership, the code of conduct, and of course, our privacy policy. So yeah, please go ahead and revisit unify.org. Okay, so another organizational aspect for Unify, we have meetings and procedures. As I mentioned earlier, we will schedule a regular meeting, maybe once a month for everyone. But once you get sorted into your pillars, you can also decide when you guys would like to regularly meet. But yes, meeting schedules, we will do it via Let Us Meet. Schedule announcements will be in a general channel in Slack, and we will also have, we always take minutes of the meetings, and we always sort of assign different facilitators for every meeting, different note takers, just so everybody gets the experience and everybody gets to participate. We have been preparing, I can see in the comments, people are asking if we have any official communication channels, WhatsApp. Yes, we do have communication channels, but we're trying to go away from WhatsApp. But what we have prepared for you guys, we have Slack, where we do most of our major announcements and task collaboration. This is where we manage our work and tasks for everybody. We also have Trello, which is task monitoring. We have Telegram for our chats and immediate messaging, and of course, email. I think for membership, you guys can reach us at memberships@unify.org. Oh, by the way, guys, I just want to remind you to please check the email that you used to register with Unify. we will be using that email to send official communications to you. So if you think that you haven't been receiving emails from Unify, then please double check, just in case there was a typo or you've inputted a wrong email. But yeah, and I also want to emphasize, I know you guys received a referral code when you signed up for membership. So please don't delete that. Keep it with you. That is your unique ID to identify you and your activities within Unify. So everything you do will be linked back to your referral code. It also makes it easier for us just to monitor all of your tasks and all of your contributions to Unify. All right, so that's it for communication channels. So what's next? What's next now after this onboarding? So we have prepared a survey, which we will be sending out via email, again, via email. So it's important that you double check the email address. Yeah, so we will be sending a survey where you will be asked if you want to become a national focal point for your countries, or if you just want to join the global operations team, which means that you will be asked some questions. We will evaluate you so that we can place you in the right pillar. We will ask you some things about your skills, your experiences, leadership experiences, management experiences, um, things like that, so that we can put you in the right group. Now, if you want to become a national focal point, please remember that we have a minimum number of members coming from that country to be able to elect a focal point. I think we can talk more about the specifics of the criteria a little bit later. But for now, that's what's coming up. We will be sending a follow-up email with the survey, and then we will have the national focal points elections. After that, right now we are really busy preparing for COP. So if you guys are gonna be in Egypt for COP, please come and say hi. Join the Unify delegation if you see us around. Join us for our sessions as well. So I think we will have a session at the Resilience Hub. We have a session at the Health Pavilion, Moroccan Pavilion. So yeah, come join us. Say hi. Okay, so there it is, as I mentioned. We have NFP elections. Yeah, there it is. So for the NFP elections, we require a minimum of, actually, this is just 50 members per country before you can elect a national focal point. So if you guys, for example, if I'm from the Philippines originally, so if the Philippines does not have at least 50 members, then we cannot elect a national focal point yet. So our first task will be to recruit more members so that we can fill in the minimum of 50. Once we have the 50, then we can start electing our national focal point. So don't worry, guys. The elections will happen on a monthly basis, and we will update the list of countries that are eligible to elect a focal point. And yeah, we will also have the onboarding, of course, for the global operations team. I want to say that you will have your sorting within 2 weeks, but I don't want to put a definite date for you guys, but let's just say that in 2 weeks we will be processing all of the GOT onboarding. So volunteer positions as well. We will be sharing this with you guys via email through our communication channels, what volunteer positions we have, whether they have financial remuneration, I cannot be sure, but for sure, we need a lot of help at Unify and with the Secretariat. Okay, I think we're almost close to the end of our onboarding, but before I give the floor back to Malik, let me just go through quickly with our calendar of membership activities. So this is just a sample of what your membership will look like. So of course, we have a monthly membership updates every first Friday of every month. We also have a bi-weekly meeting between the global operations team. We have a bi-weekly meeting between national focal points and volunteers, and a monthly meeting between the Secretariat and the regional youth focal points. And lastly, we have a monthly meeting between the regional youth focal point and the national focal points. So yeah, it's a lot of meetings, but you're working with Unify. There's a lot of coordination ongoing, and I think you guys are not really that unfamiliar with how youth organizations or how the youth space works. There's a lot of work to do, so little time. So let's do it. And with that, Malik, I'm gonna give the floor back to you.
Thank you, Anjanette, and thank you, everyone. We received some interesting questions. So I'm going to answer some of your questions here. For example, we have one, is it possible to create WhatsApp platform for all the members? Anjanette already answered the questions, but I will answer it again. Basically, we have WhatsApp groups according to pillar. So yes, we'll be having WhatsApp group for all the members. And for now, we already set up Slack and Telegram. We'll be sending the links in the email, but we'll be sending as well the WhatsApp as soon as possible. Another question is, please describe about regional focal points structure and also what is regional focal points. So basically, the regional focal points are the regional RFPs are the regional youth focal points, the one responsible for regions, for specific regions. And they are having responsible for NFPs, they are national focal points in their regions. For example, if I am the regional focal point for Northern Africa and Western Asia, I will be responsible for national focal points in my region, for example, in Tunisia, Morocco, Syria, etc. So basically is that. Another question from Mustafa, please do you have country directors? So this is also goes to our next step. We'll be recruiting national focal points soon. After this call, we'll be sending emails to all our newly recruited members, to all of you. And if you are interested to nominate yourself, as Anjanette mentioned before, all you need to do is to fill out our survey attached in the email and nominate yourself. So basically is that. I'm checking if we are having any other questions. So basically the other questions are the same. So that's all then. So if you are having more questions or if you were shy to ask your question, just feel free to email us at info@unify.org and we'll be answering all your questions. One of our members will be putting the email in the chat, so you can capture it and you can feel free to send us emails and we'll be happy to answer all your questions. So next, we'll be putting you all our social media handles, so you can follow us and you can also send us your questions, you can interact with us, and also feel free to tag us today on your Twitter and LinkedIn and share with us your experience and what you liked most about this onboarding session. So feel free to tag Unify and we'll be happy to share your tweets and also to interact with all of you. Thank you all for attending today's onboarding. We are very thrilled and happy with all your comments, interactions, and your presence. Your comments are really appreciated, and also we will be putting our best to answer all your next emails. And stay tuned, we'll be sending you emails about our recruitment for the new national focal points. See you all soon. And also, if you missed this onboarding session or if you attended late, we'll be having another onboarding session today at 7 p.m. CET. So see you there if you missed this session. And if you still have any comments or any questions, please send us in our emails. See you soon. Thank you all.
respectfully introduce to you our Secretary General of the World Body of Organization, who is here with us today, giving us some words of inspiration. Yes, Chief.
I'm a father of 5 children. The age ranges from 22 to 32, and I'm very aware of the mindset of the next generation from our generation, and I have been particularly interested to see what your generation is thinking of many matters that are not so common for my generation.
About a thing. 'Cause every little thing is gonna be alright. We don't worry about the water. 'Cause every one of us, you're gonna unify.
I can speak for my Secretary General, and he can also, he's already biased in his eyebrows, so I think we are committed to support this. I think we've shown this. You have the SG of a UN organization in this meeting that shows the commitment level that we have, so you don't need to worry about it. How we want to make sure. And Unify is not an organization, or we're not a new thing. Unify is the idea to bring all those people together. We don't want to create a competing organization for youth. That's not our aim. Unify is the idea and the mechanism and the spirit of all the young youth, children, other people who are concerned and who want to contribute to a better future. So I think for me there's no issue about trying to lead to other processes, because all the processes in there, some make Unify work or not. So it is not something different that needs to have relations with everything else. It is just the idea of everybody can contribute to the objectives and to that formulation of the measurable activities that need to be agreed in the 23 conference. So we don't want to create an organization, we want to create a movement. That was on John's first slide.